I just took a look at my Spotify Wrapped and my Apple Music replay for 2025, and there were two artists at the top of both of my lists. There was Olivia Dean and Role Model. I've been listening to both of them a ton throughout 2025, and I realized that we've never really done a tutorial in their style on the channel, so what I want to do today is dive in and kind of do a soft pop indie song that takes 50% inspiration from Olivia Dean and 50% inspiration from Role Model, and just kind of see what we can come up with that feels original but kind of fits in both of those lanes. So we're going to take a look at all of that in 1 second, but before we do, my name is Austin. You're watching Make Pop Music. If you like this video, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us out a ton on this channel. Also, I do want to let you know that this is the last weekend that we are running our Black Friday sale at makepopmusic.com, so you have until the end of December 7th to head over to our website and save 50% off of sample packs, preset packs, MIDI packs, loop packs, and bundles, and 25% off of all of our start to finish production courses. We have an indie rock and alternative one that has very, very similar vibes to this, but is much more in depth. We have dark pop, we have pop, and we have a flagship course. So if you want to check that out, that's all at makepopmusic.com. Again, you have until the end of December 7th to shop our Black Friday deals. We won't run sales like this probably until next Black Friday. We only do these kind of discounts once a year, so don't miss your chance to go grab it. Just wanted to let you know before we dive in. But let's head into Cubase so we can start making a soft pop song. All right, the first thing that I want to start with is I want to start with some kind of piano. So I'm actually going to open up Keyscape, and I want to use an upright piano. I actually feel like upright is kind of the sound of these like soft rock meets yacht rock meets soul. So we're going to go to acoustic pianos. We're going to go down here to the wing upright. Let's just try this mono. Turn down this release noise a little bit. And for the chord progression, I want some chords that feel a little bit extended. I kind of want to lean into that Olivia Dean yacht rock soul vibe. So maybe we'll play like some seventh chords. So we could do something like that. Let's see if we have, maybe let's swap this to retro. There we go. Has a little bit more attack on it. So maybe we start with something like that F sharp major 7 into the F minor 7. And then maybe we can go, somewhere else. Maybe we can go up to like that A sharp, that G sharp, and then that's kind of our chord progression. So the main key for this vibe is that I'm not going to really quantize everything. I'm just going to loop it and play it. Let me just fix that last chord. So here we have our Keyscape piano. I do want to go in and do a little bit of compression. So I'm going to be adding this DW Fern from Mixwave on the piano control setting. I've been demoing this one lately, and this is really, really, really good for just like adding a little bit of attack. Just adds a little bit of tackiness. And then inside of Keyscape, we also just went ahead and basically turned down the dynamics and added a little bit of tape. I just want it to be really bright, really, really punchy, and we color shifted it a little bit brighter. But what I do want to do is layer that with an extra upright piano, because since we are using something that's mono, it's very up the middle. So I'm layering it with this basic Hall upright out of UVI Workstation. Got a little bit of room to it. Doing the same DW compression on this. Just adds that punch, makes it feel a little bit more lively. And then we layer both of those. And that feels pretty good to me. The next thing that I think that I want to do is maybe layer over one extra key just in the second half of this. And I'm going to do that with Serum because I want something that adds a little bit of like sparkle and shimmer. So I opened up Serum and I actually found this piano that we have. This one is out of our Poptopia 2 pack. It's one of the packs that's 50% off right now. So if you want to check it out, it's this upright piano and this grand piano that has like this jangle behind it. Super tacky, super jangly, and it adds a nice little bit of character in the background. Without. And it just adds a little bit of extra depth, a little bit of extra punch. So now that that feels good, I think that we should start doing some drums. And for drums, what I want to do is just open up a little drum rack and start finding samples. When I'm doing this style, I'm typically looking for things that are punchy. They are a little bit dry. We actually just did a pack specifically for soft pop called Mellow. We had Stephen Rutherford from the band Joan do a bunch of multi-sample kits. We also have a bunch of one-shots. So I'm going to browse these one-shots. Like Hottie, I think that might be a good one. So for the drums, I ended up bringing in that Hottie kit. And then for the snare, I have this one-shot called Polaroid. And what I've been doing with my one-shot snares lately is inside of Groove Agent, I'll copy the sample and paste them. And now I've made a little version that is my lowest velocity that has the transient shaved off and it's just faded in. I have a second version that's a medium velocity that has a little bit less of that transient shaved off. And then I have my main. And that just allows me to do more dynamic hits. And I'm just tuning that up one semitone, so now if we play along, I'll go ahead and program that in. So here we go. I'm not playing anything 127 velocity. I'm also not really quantizing any of this as well. And there's just a couple spots that we do a little turnaround, like right here. It sounds a little funny without any other context, but let's add in some hi-hats so you have a little bit of that context. For the hi-hats, I just have an extra instance of Groove Agent here, and what I did was I actually dragged in some of the multi-sampled hi-hats from Mellow, specifically the 16 hi-hat. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I have an edge, I have a tip, and then I also have open, and I have a foot pedal. But it allows me to kind of go between different articulations, different velocities. And again, that's just split up inside of Groove Agent. Super easy to drag them all in as one thing. And now as we kind of start to program this, I want to make sure that I don't have any, hi-hats that hit the same velocity twice in a row. We can even go between tip and edge, add in opens. So we could do something like that. I'm going to program it out to give me a pattern that I want, but essentially as I go in, I'm also going to make sure that these aren't super perfectly quantized. I just want everything to feel a little bit lifelike. So here's our final hi-hat pattern. We'll add in some toms right there just to give us a little bit of a fill. And then other than that, maybe I'll add a crash on the one, and that's kind of it. So here are the drums for the verse. We're just adding this little crash ride right here. Then we have the toms. I ended up using the, what set did I use? I think the Dusty set. Super punchy, super vintage sounding. And then I'm just layering in these two little ride cymbals. And when you hear all that together, to the turnaround. That feels perfect. The next thing that I want to do is go ahead and lay down a bass line. I'm actually going to go ahead and track bass. So I am using this Fender Jazz bass. However, I kind of want more of like a P bass sound, so I'm going to be using only the neck pickup, and I have the tone knob dialed almost all the way back. And so as I play it, I'll probably turn around so I don't get a bunch of noise, but maybe I'll play around with some little fills, but yeah, just... All right, let's take a look and a listen to this bass. We have some processing happening over here. So I had the Corey Wong amp literally just for a tuner, but I'm using that DW Fern VT7 again, and I have this bass preset that I found. This is, I don't remember whose bass preset this is, but shout out to them because it sounded sick. Here's what it sounds like, just DI. Add some compression. Add our bass amp. I'm just using the Ampeg SVTR something. I started with a punchy 810 preset and then just kind of tweaked it from there. Here are the settings if you want to copy it. But what we end up doing is we end up filtering out a lot of that mid-range and top end to give us more of that kind of like P bass sound. Add some R bass to give us some extra sub. Add Pro MB just to sidechain this to the kick. And essentially I have this set up to where the kick drum is triggering this band. So anytime that the kick drum hits, it's saying that it's externally taking a sidechain from that kick drum and it's just gonna duck down right at 62 Hertz. And then last, I'm just scooping out some more mids. When we hear that with the keys. And then on this B part, we do have some fills here and there. And then I think we can add like some Rhodes to the second half. I've been using the actual Rhodes plugin, and it's insane. I think they had a great Black Friday deal. I've had this now for like a year, and I'm essentially just gonna probably play an octave higher. Just do some sparkly little keys like that over it. For the Rhodes preset, I ended up finding this one called On the Moon. Very pretty. And I'm playing it at a pretty light velocity, and I'm also kind of doing that nice little waterfall where I'm not having every note hit all at once. Hold on, some reason they got quantized. There we go. That's what we want. Very pretty. Let's hear that over. Let's add in some acoustic guitar as well. For the acoustic guitar, what I've been doing a lot lately is, especially on tracks like this, I'm using, instead of a big, large diaphragm condenser, I've been using this little ribbon mic from Baritone. This is the M160. Something about it, I think, just rolls off the top end of acoustic guitar really, really, really well. And then I don't have to do that much sculpting, or especially in a song like this, I don't have to get a lot of that like really bright pick attack away. So I'm going to be using the M160, and we're going to track up some acoustics. And for it, I'm literally just going to mirror the chord progression so that, what was it, F sharp major 7 to F minor 7, something like that. We're just going to do that on acoustic. So here's what our acoustic sounds like coming straight in. I double tracked it, once for the left side, once for the right side, and this is no processing whatsoever. It's a little noisy. It's fine though. I'm just going to process it a ton. I have this MBSI. I've used this on acoustic a ton on the channel. Just doing some compression. I have the tape Mellow-Fi. Just adding a little bit of drive and some of that tape characteristic. And then I'm doing a bit of EQ where I'm just sculpting out the top end and driving the mid-range. Makes it feel a little warmer and fluffier. Adding a small room. Adding one last little compressor. This is the mixed wave level on acoustic guitars. And then lastly, we are automating RC20, because in the verse I don't need a lot of that top end, but as we have a chorus come in, I'll automate that back so you get more of that high end. But here's what it sounds like with everything on it. And the mix. All right, I'm gonna drag everything back. I'm gonna grab my electric guitar. I'm gonna go with a Fender Strat, and I'm gonna be using this little guy. This is called an EBO, and essentially you just turn it on. It's a magnet. You hold it over the string, and it's gonna vibrate. I'm gonna do a little EBO pattern similar to like Sally When the Rhine Runs Out, or there's an Olivia Dean song that has some EBO stuff. And then I'm gonna track up one little electric guitar part that I hear in my head, but I'm gonna swap over and do that now. So here's the EBO. If I turn off anything, this is what it sounds like coming in. Just sounds like noise. I'm sending that through the Tone King Imperial. This is by Neural DSP. doing some compression, some overdrive, and then I just kind of have it going through the rhythm section. And I have quite a bit of reverb and chorus and delay. I want it to be really spacey and ambient. Gives me such a nice little cool pad. You can automate the volume in and out. And then I just wanted to have one little slidey electric melody. It feels very Olivia Dean in the verse, so I wanted to add a role model element. This is basically just a stock setting as soon as you load up the Tone King Imperial. And we just have that doing a nice little call and response. All right, that feels pretty good. I know we're kind of flying through this. If you have ever wanted to see like the full process where nothing gets cut out, if you want to see exactly how I make every decision really in real time, we edit everything, go check out the courses. These videos are 30 to 40 minutes. Our courses are like 20 hours. So if you really want to learn how to like make something like this from start to finish, the courses are going to be the best way to do it. There's a lot of stuff that we can't cover on YouTube just because we don't have the time or we don't have the capacity to actually set it up every week. So if you want to check that out, those are 25% off until the end of December 7th, I think I said earlier. So yeah, go check them out. Other than that, I think let's go ahead and move over to the pre-chorus. For the piano, we're going to kind of keep it similar. I'm going to go ahead and swap over to like a D sharp minor, F sharp major, A sharp minor, G sharp major. And I'm just going to kind of hold things out. I want it to be a little bit more ambient. We're also going to track up some acoustic guitar and some bass. So I'm just going to lay that all down because this video is already running a little bit long. We're going to lay it down and then punch back in. All right, let's take a look at the keys. The same uprights that we had earlier, the UVI and the keyscape. But I'm also layering over this wider piano just to give us a little bit more depth. This is the keyscape wing upright dark indie, but it's not mono. And then I also found this little lap steel loop that I really, really liked. Laying a little bass line, something really simple. Laying some tambourines and loops. These are all out of Mellow as well. And then I tracked up some acoustic guitars. Let me show you those. Here's our acoustic guitar. I'm playing something slightly different on the left and right side just to create a little bit of extra stereo width and dimension. Perfect. And now as we go into the chorus, I'll give us a little bit of a tom fill. We'll mute a stop there, but that's a good example of why I did that little trick where I split that snare into 3 samples. I can kind of get a little bit of a roll like that. That sounds decently realistic with a one shot. Let's go ahead and do the chorus drums. There's a lot to cover. I want to have the verse drums kind of be the basis, but I want to build a lot off of those. All right, let's lock in. We have the exact same kick and snare from the verse, but I'm layering over this little guy called the snare springy. I think having some kind of cool spring reverb snare, really quintessential for like Olivia Dean and Role Model. Adds a nice little bit of movement. Hi-hats are there. Crash is there. But we have tambourines now. Tambourines are a big part to kind of lift a chorus. We also have a shaker loop. And then I'm layering over extra little spring reverb tambourine hits out of Mellow on these snare drums. I sampled 2 different tambourines in Mellow. I sampled a black one and a yellow one. So I'm just kind of alternating between those so it doesn't feel like the same thing over and over. Cool. So there's all of our drums. For the chord progression, I want to keep it feeling similar, but I want to extend it, so we're going to have what we did for the verse. But now we're going to go. So yeah, we're just gonna have that F sharp major 7, F minor 7. Boom. We're gonna lay that down. So here's what it sounds like with the upright, the face piano, and that wide piano. So we also have that high Rhodes, and I'm layering it up with a lower Rhodes. This one is the Going Incognito preset from the V8, and we're just playing the same thing an octave lower. So that's kind of most of our key sounds. Creates this nice big bed. But I wanted to have some kind of counter melody, and both artists use trumpets in their albums, so I figured, screw it, we'll use a trumpet. So I found this one out of UVI. It is the trumpet with the wheel modulation out of their orchestral suite, and it sounds like this. I'm using that modulation wheel just to automate up the intensity, and then I'm using key switches down here to swap between staccato and legato, and then I'm just layering that with an extra trumpet. And I'm layering both of those with a Mellotron flute. This is out of the Poptopia pack off of our website as well, called Dream Flute. And so now we get a nice little bit of counter melody. And then we have a glockenspiel come in here. Just a little bell preset out of Omnisphere 3. This one's called the Glass Vibraphone. And that's kind of it for the melodic stuff. I want to go ahead and add in the bass line, so I'll track in the bass. Same thing, Fender Jazz Bass, filtered out to feel like a P bass. So here we have the bass line. I'm doing it slightly busier than the verse just to build intensity. So I'm doing 3 hits, bum, 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 bum. And in the mix, and then I'm going to track over acoustic guitars, just kind of mimicking the chords as well. And I want to track in these like really pretty electric guitar strums. So we're going to do that as well right now. Okay, so here is our acoustic guitar. And then we have these strums. These are the Tone King Imperial as well, but I have this Magma Springs on it. I love spring reverb for this sound. Really wide, really ambient, really lush. And then the last thing that I need to do is I need to just go in and make sure that retro color is all the way off. So we're just gonna automate this real quick. And then I can go into my parameter here and make sure that that's going to come through because I want these guitars to be fully bright here. That's way better. I think that's kind of it. Let's do vocals. I'm going to track up everything. For the vocal chain of this, I'm going to use the Lauten Audio Eden. I'm not going to be using the C800. I feel like I'm going to use the Eden on the neutral setting, so it's not quite as bright, but it gives me that mid-range that I need to really sit forward in this track. And then I'm going to run that into the Rupert Neve Newton with no EQ on. I'm going to run that into an 1176, doing a little bit of compression and literally barely touching like an LA2A. So that's what I'm going to do running in. All right, let's take a look at our lead vocal. This is what it sounds like coming in with absolutely nothing on it. This is raw out of the Eden.
Sitting on the porch in the dead of the winter.
All right. The first thing I want to do is we're going to take away a lot of that top end. This track is going to be pretty dark, so I'm just filtering that out.
Sitting on the porch in the dead of the winter.
And then we're going to do a little bit of extra compression and a little bit of extra 2A. I go pretty light.
Sitting
on the way in, just so I can kind of tweak it here. So I'm actually driving this 76 pretty hard.
Sitting on the porch in the dead of the winter.
And then we're just going to DS a little bit.
Sitting on the porch in the dead of the winter. where you'd steal my favorite coats.
And then last little thing is going to be just cleaning up some of that mid-range.
Sitting on the porch in the dead of the winter.
And then lastly, for texture, I'm going to add this Galaxy tape echo straight onto the inserts. So this is not on a send.
Sitting on the porch in the dead of the winter, where you'd steal my favorite coats.
And then in terms of the actual sends, we have an echo down here. Let's start with the plate reverb. We have Seventh Heaven doing a 1.75 second plate reverb. And then we have a stereo eighth note delay that's literally just Echo Boy on the space echo setting. And then we have the echo chorus that is the Stellar Echo from Slate. I like this one because it allows me to go stereo. So this is just on the send.
Sitting on the porch in the dead.
Then when we turn on all of our effects, we get something that sounds like this.
Sitting on the porch in the dead of the winter, where you'd steal my...
And so that's kind of going to be our lead sound. We can even dry it up a little bit if we want to. But in the mix, it tucks in really, really nicely. Let me show you.
Sitting on the porch in the dead of the winter, where you'd steal my favorite coats. Dancing all around.
But one thing that I noticed in Olivia Dean and Role Model is they track harmonies on basically everything. So I just have these little harmonies panned 70% out, doing the exact same thing on both sides.
Sitting on the porch in the dead of the winter, where you steal my favorite coats.
Not really tuning, not really time aligning, definitely not vocal lining these. I'm just compressing those a little bit harder and de-essing them a little bit harder.
Sitting on the porch in the dead of the winter, where you steal my favorite coats. Dancing all around the kitchen, cooking dinner, pouring wine down each other's throats.
And then let's go to this pre-chorus. We have a lead vocal here.
All my roads point to you. Does any path of yours lead to me?
Same exact vocal
Down
chain.
bass and sweet with 22.
And it's cool, but what really makes this pre-chorus, in my opinion, is all of these tracks right here. So I wanted to do harmonies, but I didn't want to just do them in front of the mic. I wanted them to have a different texture. So I kind of yelled these across the room.
All my roads point to you. Does any path of yours lead to me? Down bass and sweet with 22.
And on this, I just have some stuff happening on this bus. Here's raw.
All my roads point to you. Does any path of yours...
I'm adding Perfect Room by Denise Audio just to kind of tuck this into a slightly livelier space since my studio is so dead. I'm doing Tape Mellow-Fi just to filter out a little bit, give us some drive, and then just filtering out some of that top end that I don't really need.
All my roads point to you.
Compressing it.
Does any path of yours lead to me?
Touching it with the de-esser.
Down bass and sweet with 22.
And then a little slap backspace echo.
All my roads point to you. Does any path of yours lead to me?
But what's really cool is not only did I do those, I also did a bunch of extra layers where I was clapping, I was yelling, I was hollering. This feels very, very Role Model. We've leaned very Olivia Dean so far, so I wanted a couple things that kind of push it in that realm.
All right. Let's get it. All right, I keep going back now. Yeah. Woo. All right.
So I'm doing all of those, and these are all panned out differently. I have some panned 100%, some panned 40%, some panned 30%, some panned 80%. I just want this big, wide soundscape, like if you were standing in the middle of a group of people.
All my roads point to you. Does any path of yours lead to me? Down bass and sweet with 22.
And then when you tuck them in the mix, it sounds super sick.
All my roads point to you. Does any path of yours lead to me? Down bass and sweet with 22.
All right, let's go ahead and rip these chorus vocals. We have a lead up the middle.
Lately, I'm pacing. I don't want to say that I'm impatient, but face it, I've been on the hook. I know you're waiting to say it. If you want forever, come take it. Come and take it.
I really wanted to kind of mimic that walk down in the chords. So we have that, and then we have dubs on the left and the right. Just panned 100%.
Lately, I'm pacing. I don't wanna say that I'm impatient, but face it, I've been on the hook.
Not vocal lining anything, not tuning anything super, super hard, but we have these harmonies. These are really important.
Lately, I'm pacing. I don't wanna say that I'm impatient, but face it.
Really walking it down.
I've been on the hook, I know you're waiting to say it. If you want forever, come take it. Come and take it.
And then the last one, I have this extra harmony. I'm basically creating a chord with my vocals.
Lately, I'm pacing. I don't wanna say that I'm impatient, but face it, I've been on the hook, I know you're waiting to say it. If you want forever, come take it. Come and take it. My heart.
And then I'm automating those up for the second half of the chorus, so they come a little bit more forward. But all the vocals together create this really beautiful vocal pad.
Lately, I'm pacing. I don't wanna say that I'm impatient, but face it, I've been on the hook, I know you're waiting to say it. If you want forever, come take it. Come and take it. My heart races, I'm shaking. You're the only thing I'm ever craving, so save it.
So that's kind of where we end up. That's every element of the song. One thing that's really important to this sound is on the master bus, I have this Ampex tape machine. Using tape is a big, big way to sound very mellow, sound very soft pop. It's a good way to kind of control your mid-range. For this one, it's just kind of tightening up everything.
Lately, I'm pacing. I don't wanna say that I'm impatient, but face it, I've been on the hook, I know you're waiting to say it.
I might even pull down the top end some, but it controls that mid-range really, really well. And then other than that, it's my normal suspects on my vocal or on my master bus. Gold clip, just doing like a couple dB of clipping. And then the VB red doing a couple dBs of compression. And then mix head to give me a little bit of saturation and a little bit of extra brightness. Lin MB, just kind of sculpting some of that mid-range. And then my Pro L2, just my tried and true limiter right here. And that's kind of it. That's the entire project for this. So we're going to take a listen to all of this right now. But again, if you want to see how to produce songs from start to finish in real time, go check out the courses. They are way more in depth. You can save 25% off right now. If you want to check out all the sounds that you heard in this, Mellow, Poptopia 2, any of our other sample packs or preset packs, those are 50% off. All at makepopmusic.com until the end of December 7th. But let's go ahead and let's listen to this soft pop Olivia Dean role model song that we created.
Sitting on the porch in the dead of the winter, where you steal my favorite coats, dancing all around the kitchen, cooking dinner, pouring wine down each other's throats, staying up, talking well past midnight, sharing stories no one would ever believe, just a couple of moments that I knew, oh I knew, I'm in way too deep. All my roads point to you. Does any path of yours lead to me? Down back since we were 22. That was back in 2017. So baby, lately I'm pacing. I don't wanna say that I'm impatient, but face it, I've been on the hook, I know you're waiting to say it. If you want forever, come take it. Come and take it. My heart races, I'm shaking. You're the only thing I'm ever craving, so save it. If you feel the same, reciprocate it. I'm aching. Come reassure me if you're all in for me.
That's going to do it for this video. If you got to this point, thank you so much for watching. We really, really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed already, make sure that you subscribe. We do videos like this every single Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. But I would love to know in the comments who is actually on your Spotify Wrapped or your Apple Music Replay. I'm curious to see what you guys are listening to, but that's going to do it for this week. I'll see you soon. Much love. Peace.